Hi, I'm Danielle. Welcome to my perfume journal. This is the May installment of my series called Perfume Collecting for Regular People, where I kind of pull back the curtain and very transparently share the ins and outs of my perfume collecting each month, including my budget and my spending down to the penny. I started this series to throw my little voice into the ring of budget-conscious perfume collectors and enthusiasts in the hopes that what I was sharing might resonate with other people in some way. Okay, so let's look at what I added to my perfume collection during the month of May. Recently, I saw the wonderful Karina from My Perfume Map talking about a perfume that I had not smelled in ages, but it's always been on my mind, and that is Blazer from Klein. Blazer came out in 1976. It was among the ranks of the green floral chypres that were incredibly popular in the late 70s, and like other floral chypres of its time, it has this slight sharpness to it from the lavender, the geranium, the clove, notes you would often see in perfumes of this style at this time, and this perfume has one of my favorite notes in perfumery, and that is marigold. That's another throwback kind of floral that's very green and a little bit spicy in nature. And like a good chypre, this has a bright bergamot opening and a woody patchouli base. Now, Blazer is missing some of that deep mossiness that you get from other chypre perfumes from the decade, and that's exactly what I think takes it to Blazer land. This definitely feels like we are moving from the 70s into the 80s. The shoulder pads are becoming more pronounced, and we are owning 51% of this company. Fabulous perfume. So a while ago, I did a video on what I call, quote, safe blind buys, if there is such a thing, and how I decide what I'm going to blind buy each month. And this month, my blind buys weren't my usual variations on a theme. They were more of a hodgepodge of things I kind of stumbled upon over time that I put on my Parfumo shelf for future purchases. And I made 5 blind buy purchases this month. Only 2 of them were immediate loves, and the jury is pretty much out on the other 3, but I kind of think I know where I'm leaning based on the fact that I wore one of those perfumes one time, and the other 2 I have not worn at all. I am thinking that they're probably going to end up on the declutter shelf, so let's start with those. This one is Perry Woman by Perry Ellis. This is the one that I did wear, and looking at the notes, I am not really sure why I blind bought this perfume. It has water lily and lotus, which are notes I do not generally gravitate towards. Maybe it was the tuberose, maybe it was the iris in the base that drew me to it. I don't really know. Maybe it was because it was cheap and I thought, what the heck? Maybe it's because I thought the perfume bottle looked like a tube of lipstick. Anyway, this is a very nondescript kind of woody floral. It smells almost like musty, dusty to me, like it's been sitting in an attic for a very long time. I am just kind of not feeling this one, and so we're going to have to see where Perry ends up. So next we have Paris Hilton by Paris Hilton. And I bought this one for 2 reasons. 1, it was super cheap and small. And 2, I have never tried any Paris Hilton perfumes before. I thought the notes looked kind of interesting. It has a lot that I enjoy. It has ylang ylang, tuberose, mimosa, oak moss. So I was intrigued. I also thought it was kind of hilarious that it listed pheromones on the note list. Like, what do pheromones smell like? Probably nothing. So when I sprayed this on the blotter, it just smelled very, very shampoo-y to me, but like someone took a bag of sugar and poured it into a shampoo bottle and then threw in some Fruity Pebbles. And I don't really get enough of the florals in this perfume that I love to really enjoy this, but I also keep going back to sniff the cap. So maybe I need to actually wear this perfume to see how it will smell on me. But as of right now, this one is leaning toward being a no for me. And finally, in the unfortunate wah-wah category, there's one that I really thought I was going to love. It's Elizabeth Arden's True Love. I really thought this was going to be a love at first sniff for me. It's Elizabeth Arden, it's by Sophia Grossman, and it has all of my favorite florals. Iris, heliotrope, rose, it has sandalwood, it has green notes at the top. But there is something about the muskiness of this perfume. I don't know what musk materials or materials they are using to create this musk accord, but it is not working on me personally. I was trying to think about how to describe it, and to me it sort of smells like burnt plastic a little bit, like when you accidentally melt the handle of a pot or like a plastic utensil while you're cooking. I'm so bummed about this one because I was positive that I was going to enjoy it. I really was, but it's just not working on me personally. I do know that this perfume is super well loved by many, many people, so I'm sure I will be able to pass this bottle along to someone who will give it the attention and the enjoyment that it deserves. Moving on to the blind buys that did work for me, we will start with Guess Dare. Oh my gosh, this perfume is so good. I blind bought this simply because of the kumquat note. That's a note that's present in Hermès Le Jardin de Musicology, which I adore, and I was intrigued by the addition of coconut, the 3 fruit blossom notes. There's pear blossom, cactus blossom, and lemon blossom, and then it had like a musky base. So this seemed right up my street, and indeed it was. It is juicy and ripe. That kumquat note is very, very distinctive. It's very recognizable, and the blossom notes are so light and bouncy, and then the coconut musky base is just perfect with the juicy fruits and the gentle florals. This perfume is the kind of scent I would like to wear to like an outdoor picnic or a day at the pool when there's a nice breeze in the air and you get like little whiffs and wafts of this all around you. Fantastic perfume. I'm so glad I went for this one. And my favorite blind buy this month was Happy Bigaradia from Chopard. This is a citrusy orange blossom perfume with a touch of honey, a bit of woodiness, and it's got this great rooty but kind of sweet vegetal quality to it from the carrot note, one of my favorite notes in a perfume. It is super interesting, super unique. It is like no other orange blossom or citrus or honey perfume that I have in my collection, and I love that. Very grateful to Stacy for recommending this to me. This is so good, and you can find this perfume for between like $14 and $20. Such an affordable gem. Dun da da da! The pièce de résistance for this month is Eau Moheli. I finally splurged and bought myself a bottle of Eau Moheli from Diptyque. I have had this perfume on my wish list for about a year. I hemmed and I hawed over buying this every month. I am so weird when it comes to spending like $150 on a bottle of perfume that I really, really want. I will wait and wait and wait until I can finally justify taking the plunge on such a luxury as a single bottle of perfume that costs so much. But I finally convinced myself to go over my budget this month and go for it. I've been keeping a nice balance in my perfume piggy bank all year, and I really, really wanted to wear this perfume in the warm weather. Eau Moheli is just a simple, classic, fresh perfume. It is ylang ylang, ginger, and vetiver. The buttery yellow floral is the perfect foil to that zingy ginger, and then the dry vetiver just kind of balances everything out. Diptyque perfumes, I feel like you cannot go wrong with them. They are simple and elegant compositions that are based on like one main ingredient or note. Here it's the ylang ylang with just a few well-chosen notes to complement it perfectly. Before we move on to the next perfume, this is my wish list page of my perfume journal. So this year I decided I really wanted to be thoughtful about my wish list and only add the perfumes that I consider a scent that would be a timeless classic for me. So as of right now, I have only put 6 perfumes on my wish list for the entire year, and I have added 4 of them to my collection so far. Every time I add a perfume from my wish list into my collection, I fill in the little circle with the accent color from my perfume journal from that month. So in January, I added Nightingale from Zoologist to my collection, and that month I also won a travel size of Le Grand Jeu from Voyage Imaginaire. I did not add another perfume from my wish list to my collection until April. That was Belle de Grace from Fragonard, and now in May, Eau Moheli from Diptyque. So the last full bottle I decided to add to my collection this month was a total impulse buy. It was enabled by my maximalist sister-in-law, who is a terrible influence on me, and I kind of love her for that. So one weekend we met up at an antique mall. She loves antiques. Her house is full of these like amazing treasures. And the antique mall we went to had a perfume booth. So I asked them to unlock the cabinet because they had a ton of amazing things that I wanted to poke around and look at. They had a vintage Poison, which I asked to try, but unfortunately the atomizer was really bad and the perfume didn't smell quite right. They had these amazing, huge Factice bottles. I wish I had taken a photo. One of them was the original YSL champagne bottle. It was enormous and super fun. And then hiding in the cabinet was this big blue triangle, the original Bliss Claiborne. I asked if I could spray it. They said yes, and I was immediately transported back to 1986, and I had on my peg jeans and my Forenza sweater worn backwards. So I have this perfume in the current formulation, but I have been looking for an intact vintage, and here she was, this vintage, very green floral with tons of marigold and a nice mossy base. The excellent oak moss really stood out in the original formulation. This is a material that has been so deeply restricted over time, and there is just nothing like smelling real oak moss in a perfume. I did not need this perfume. I probably overpaid for this perfume, but whatever. There it was. It said buy me. I had my Alice in Wonderland moment while my Cheshire cat sister-in-law stood by with this big grin on her face. I have no regrets about buying this perfume, none at all. I talked about these samples in my monthly sample review video. On the left, we have DinoS'Mores from House of Mammoth, a delicious campfire s'more scent. 10% of the proceeds from this limited release will benefit Camp Sunshine in Maine. It's a camp for kids with life-threatening illnesses and their families. Ben from House of Mammoth is always so kind to send me samples of his latest releases, and I really appreciate that. Thank you, Ben. And on the right is a sample of Eau de Sens that I got at Diptyque. This is their very green orange blossom perfume. It's one I've always enjoyed sniffing at Diptyque counters and duty-frees and Diptyque shops, and so I'm really excited that I get to give this one a proper wear now that I have an actual sample of it. I did move along a few perfumes this month. Somebody asked me to share a little bit more about what I'm decluttering, so I will do that. I moved along a few perfumes this month. I decluttered Fly Me to the Oud from Musicology. I wore this one for a little while last winter, but I quickly realized that this is not really my kind of scent. It's sort of in the neighborhood of Sugar Leather from Une Nuit Nomade, but instead of leather, make it oud. It's basically like a brown sugar and oud, very sweet woody composition by Natalie Lorson. I enjoyed it for a little while, but it's time to move that one along. I also moved along Bora from Giardini di Toscana. I had 3 of their perfumes that didn't last more than 6 months in my collection. I impulse bought all of them. Guess where? On vacation. I got them home and I realized I did not like them. And within that 6 months, I sold Celeste, which is a very sweet violet perfume. I gave away Bianco Latte. I know, it just wasn't for me. And now I'm saying goodbye to Bora, the tropical floral in their line. So farewell, my dear perfumes. You are now going to your forever homes where you shall be appreciated and loved as you should be. All right, brass tax time. What did I spend this month? Well, it finally happened. I went over my budget for the first time this year. So every month I have shared in this series that my fun money / perfume budget is $100 to $150 per month. And as always, I want to recognize what a significant privilege it is to have any fun money to spend at all. That was not always the case for me. It is not the case for many people. And I'm very grateful to have the extra money on hand to enjoy a hobby at all, let alone a hobby like perfume. So So I started out May with a balance of $342.89 in my perfume piggy bank. I've been doing really well with decluttering and sticking to my budget every month this year, so I started out the month of May with a nice healthy balance. I then spent a total of $254.11 on perfumes, which is $104.11 over my budget, and that is because I finally splurged on that bottle of Eau Moheli. So that still left me with a balance of $88.78 in my bank, which was pretty great. On top of that, I decluttered to the tune of $190.56, also fantastic. But then I went haywire and I spent another $55.46 on perfume. Oopsie. Okay, so all told, I spent a total of $309.57 this month, which is $159.57 over my monthly budget. And after my hobby income of $109.56, I am left with a total of $223.88 in my perfume piggy bank at the end of the month. So even though I did go over my budget for spending this month, I decluttered enough to still come out ahead for the year so far. And the thing is, some months are just like that. I may be on budget, I may be under budget, I may go over my budget, but the bottom line is that I try to be a careful consumer when it comes to this lifelong perfume obsession, and I do watch my spending on this hobby for the most part. So there we have it, the ins, the outs, the dollars, the cents of my regular person perfume collecting for the month of May. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love making these videos every month. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos and to chat perfumes with me in the comments. I hope you have a really great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!